this is a conversation that we've always been having, harmonization, as he says, equal work, equal pay. What is the status as the Deputy Secretary General for KNUT so far when it comes to the harmonization of even the salaries, even from what the President was talking about?
I should say that the statement of the President, and more so when you compare the public employees and the private sector employees, it is very, very difficult to rationalize and harmonize their salaries.
Okay.
Considering that the salaries of employees at the public sector are controlled by job evaluation that is done by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Mm-hmm. Vis-a-vis, if you go to the private sector, it is based on negotiations through active negotiations between the representatives of the employees and the employer, mm-hmm. and also considering the productivity of the industry where they work.
Okay.
So it is very, very difficult for us to say that you will harmonize the minimum wage in the public sector and the private sector, because the evaluations, the way they are done, is not equal, mm-hmm. and it is not governed by the same body. So as I say, as my colleague is saying, political statements will not reflect to what the actual is, the situation on the ground, where the rubber meets the road. So, and that is why when you come to the public sector, it is very, very difficult for unions and the employer to negotiate for salaries, because mm-hmm. always they will bring in the issue of Salaries and Remuneration Commission, mm-hmm. that they cannot make an independent decision before they get advisory from the SRC. And that advisory is like mandatory, okay, which is not according to the law.
Right.
Because the law says that it should be an advisory, mm-hmm. say for state officers. And okay. when we talk about state officers, we'll talk about the parliamentarians, we'll talk about the direct employees from the state and not public servants per se. So that becomes a very big challenge. And that is why even if this has been floated the way the President said in 2023, mm-hmm. up to now, there is no policy that has come out, mm-hmm. because it is a difficult task to carry out, mm-hmm. because these are two different sectors with two different employers and governed by different policies that are running the sectors.
In the same statement, he talked about and he was telling the members of the parliament, particularly even the Labour Committee, to reach out to the workers, which is both of, actually the three of you, plus so many other workers out here. Briefly, Hesbon, at that particular time, because now it's 2 years actually, did the members of parliament reach out to KNUT for any of this public participation?
I've seen situations whereby, and even tomorrow, mm-hmm. it might work, it might appear, and okay. I wish as it appears, mm-hmm. that the President will either make a pronouncement on either an increment based on general wage, okay. where it cuts across, yeah. or minimum wage.
Okay.
But now when it comes to enforcement, after the pronouncement has been made at the celebration field, like tomorrow we are going to Uhuru Gardens, once these pronouncements have been made, what is the follow-up strategy, okay. to ensure that it works?
So did members of parliament reach out to KNUT?
We have never had a situation whereby they come up to say that there was a pronouncement and this is a follow-up and we want to get your views.
Okay.
As KNUT, always, and now we are negotiating for a new collective bargaining agreement covering the period 2025-2029.
Okay.
Because this other one is coming to completion.
Right.
There is no time we will come up to involve the members of parliament or mm-hmm. to involve any other party in our negotiation between ourselves and the Teacher Service Commission.
Okay.
So we will always talk to Teacher Service Commission.
Yeah.
But what the Teacher Service Commission will introduce, according to what the Constitution says, mm-hmm. is the Salaries and Remuneration Commission.
Yes.
So there is no time they will come and say, let us go to Parliament and let us get the views of the Parliament. Okay. Or there is no time they will say, we were at Uhuru Gardens or Jamhuri Park or Uhuru Park and the President made this pronouncement. Okay. How can we follow up to see that what the President has said is practical? So it is, let me just use this unpolite word, It is like hot air.
But do you